It's a brand new day with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled. From morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, the 19th. We're halfway through the week. Yay! Sort of. Good morning, Wolfram. Thank you for doing all of the mod stuff. I greatly appreciate it. Good morning, Captain Kern. Fun Diane. Safe driving. We will try to keep you company as you're heading off to work to take things from one place to the other and possibly spot a bunch of men behaving badly. Good morning, Tammy and Slinky. So, our first story today, sometimes the newsy news gods just happen to bestow upon us a story that is apropos to a case that we're working on. But, well, we have a doggo gone wild in the news. According to reporting, Secret Service destroyed video evidence of Biden's dog attacking an agent. White House tours stopped to clean up the blood. So, I don't know. Maybe the expert who, saw everything in about 5 minutes and said, "Yeah, that's a dog," uh, could use this to add to her compendium of knowledge. The Secret Service destroyed video evidence of President Joe Biden's dog attacking and biting an agent in the White House. According to reports of the incident, the White House had to stop tours in order to clean up the blood on the floor. The Daily Mail filed for a Freedom of Information Act and reported on the incident that took place June 15th, 2023. The email made mention of a video biting video evidence of commander and an agent. It reportedly showed the dog running at and attacking the agent, leaving a deep bite on his arm that reportedly needed stitches, the email read. East Wing tours were stopped for approximately 20 minutes due to blood from the incident being on the floor in the area of booksellers. In a request for the video from the Daily Mail, the Secret Service Freedom of Information Act officer, Kevin Terrell, wrote back and stated, "Please be advised, a review of Secret Service records in headquarters and all Secret Service field offices indicates that there are no responsive records or documents pertaining to your request in our file. Due to Secret Service retention standards, the above-mentioned files have been destroyed." Secret Service spokesperson Anthony Guglielmi told the outlet that the agency abides by the law for a federal records retention schedule that defines when certain types of records can be archived or destroyed, etc. However, the spokesperson did not have any direct knowledge of the video in question. Gosh, Canton PD is strong with them. Look, no one told us this was going to be evidence, so we destroyed it. Look, this is not in public interest. No one cares. And we destroyed it. There are at least 25 recorded attacks from Commander, as well as others that were carried out by Biden's previous dog, a rescued German Shepherd they called Major. During a press briefing early on in Biden's presidency, The then press secretary, Jen Psaki, was asked about biting dogs of Joe Biden's family and was caught in a lie about their propensity for attacking Secret Service agents. So here we go. Doggone it. If only the Secret Service hadn't destroyed that video, we might have, an approximation in a case that we're currently looking at. What an absolute dumpster fire. I mean, why? This is California, y'all. And this is not a dig at my viewers that live in California. Just, I guess it's a culture shock if you don't live in California. Good morning, Christine and Kiwi Green. Welcome and good morning. A Florida family was robbed while dropping their son off at a Florida college, and now they plan to pull him from school because it's not safe there. An incoming college or California college student and his family were robbed of all their belongings, including $3,000 and their passports, when thieves broke into their rental car as he was being dropped off for school. The teen's parents have since planned to disenroll him from the school over safety fears in the state, according to KTVU. Uh, Rommel Crossman and his family drove. So this is the graduate. I mean, and congratulations on graduating high school. Look, I can see this from both sides. Everywhere that isn't your arms is a dangerous place when you're a parent. Having 2 children that are getting ready to be, well, 1 child that has graduated to a fully independent driver, and then one who is going to get her driving license. It's hard to explain as a parent the kind of not overwhelming all the time, but the very real and tangible fear that that you can control certain things in your home. You can, try to create a culture of kindness, although the boys will just wrestle each other. But you will try to soften the blows that can happen out in the real world. And when you send and release your kids out into the real world, it is terrifying because the real world will not pull punches like you would. The real world, not that you would punch your children, but the real world isn't going to soften those kind of realities or random things that just happen. So if I were this mom, I'd probably be encouraging my child to not go to that school either. But I do understand where they're coming from. Uh, he and his family had flown down to the Bay Area from Coconut Creek, Florida, on Saturday to register for classes at Lincoln University in Oakland. Crossman, who had just graduated Coconut Creek High School and committed to play football as a defensive tackle at the independent California-based university, according to an X post on February. Once they arrived at the Golden State, the family got into a white Nissan Rogue that they rented from a car rental thrifty and drove to Oakland. They parked the SUV a block from the private university around 6:15 p.m. before heading to a nearby Jamaican restaurant to pick up food, leaving their 5 suitcases inside the car. The family returned 15 minutes later and discovered that the SUV's windows were smashed out, the glass scattered on the ground, and all of their belongings were gone. In Oakland, California, you've just got to be careful, Crossman's mother, Naricia Murray Watson, told the outlet. Everything is totally gone. A witness told the family they saw masked men driving around in a car without any license plates in broad daylight, an increasingly common occurrence in the Bay Area. I didn't know these things happen in America, so it's really strange to me, Murray Watson added. The missing possessions not only included clothing, but very important personal documents. $3,000 in my bag my husband put under the seat with 3 passports, Social Security cards, and my son's high school diploma and birth certificate, Murray Wilson said of the stolen items. A sleep apnea machine was also taken from the car. Now I'm starting to feel my heart is pounding in the morning instead of feeling rested, said Corlin Leslie Green, Crossman's aunt. The family claimed they called 911 multiple times after the break in, but were told they had to go to the police station to file a report. To me, it's lawless because we even called the police 3 times and they said they can't come, she said. After a couple of long days with little to no reassurance, the family decided Lincoln University wasn't right for them. I have to pack or bring back my son to Florida because it's not safe here, she said. The city of Oakland says overall crime is down 33% compared to this time last year, and there have been 60% fewer car break ins, but some organizations say the numbers have been skewed. We should compare our numbers to a lengthy amount of time, not just the difference between this year and last year. Sergeant Huy Nugent, president of Oakland Police Officers Association, said, according to KGO, we have to bring our numbers down to a level where our community feels a sense of safety. Overall crime over the last 12 months, when compared to all of 2023, is down by 15.8%, and robberies fluctuate depending on the given time period, according to the outlet. Every time we roll into the beginning of summer, we see increased violent crimes across the city. The increase of the side shows. That's just normal for us. To keep students safe, U.S. Berkeley says they issue warnings about not leaving belongings in car, and it educates incoming students during orientation about best safety practices. So there you go. Um, yeah, I mean, Oakland, I don't remember being on a same list as Mayberry, but yeah, you would think, look, if you are a little bit type A like me, you would be doing deep researching on the crime statistics around any school that your kiddo wanted to go to. But I can understand just being so excited that he was offered a scholarship to a private university he graduated. So I can understand also getting caught up in this great opportunity for your kiddo. So I'm trying to give both of them the benefit of the doubt, considering that as a professional hot mess express, I woke up at 7:15 this morning, have no makeup on, and was like hauling behind to find stories. So I truly do get like being a hot mess express. In another update to a story that we have covered before, a Texas court orders Caitlin Armstrong, the crazy A biker lady who unalived another biker lady, not the bikes that you want, but the spandex bikes. So, not leather, chaps with a bikini top, but what are you going to do? Not everywhere can be Sturgis. A Texas court has ordered Caitlin Armstrong, who was found guilty in November of murdering pro cyclist Anna Moira Mo Wilson in an East Austin home in May 2022, to pay the victim's family $15 million. Fox 7 in Austin reported that Wilson's parents, Karen and Eric Wilson, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Armstrong last month, seeking over $1 million in relief. Good morning, Old Line Red and Marlena Mars. Armstrong was convicted of shooting Wilson twice in the head and once through the heart after she went on a date with Armstrong's on again, off again boyfriend. Armstrong, 37, was accused of shooting 25-year-old Wilson to death in a jealous rage minutes after Colin Strickland, 36, dropped the star cyclist off at a friend's Austin apartment where she was staying while visiting Texas for a race. Prosecutors said Armstrong stalked Wilson's location with the Strava app, a popular tool for cyclists and runners to show their routes, and she had access to Strickland's Apple and Gmail accounts and would read his text and emails. Armstrong was ultimately convicted of murder and sentenced to 90 years in prison. She would be eligible for parole after serving 30 years in prison. Court records obtained by the station show that Wilson's parents were awarded a default judgment when Armstrong failed to appear at court hearing on June 17th. She also failed to file an answer to the original lawsuit. The court ultimately ordered Armstrong to pay $15 million, with $5 million going to both of Wilson's parents and another $5 for exemplary damages that the court determined sufficient enough to deter or the same or similar actions by Armstrong in the future. As part of the order, the court stipulated that Wilson's parents could also recover from Armstrong post-judgment interest of 8.5% a year plus all taxable court costs. Now, I'm I'm okay. I'm glad that they're getting this level of justice too, but unless this woman has 15 mil in the bank, that's a lot of Levi's and license plates. So, as Jamie would say, "Chip chop chip, ma'am. You need to work on those license plates because you got 15 million in the hole, plus 8.5% every year you hold a balance." Welcome, Shizzy Raiders. If you guys are into more political news, you know, Shizzy does a great morning show that does maybe more politics in it. So I love going over there sometimes in the morning because I can have maybe a little bit more of a political slant I try to keep out of here, just because I know some people don't want that with their news. Let's see here. So I am glad that they got the summary judgment, but they're not gonna see that money, in my opinion. I am not a legalologist. I'm just a mom with red hair who woke up late this morning, so take whatever I opinionate on. I mean, I'll agree with you. Any sport that requires you to wear spandex and then look at me. No, we are having this out once and for all because holy fazoli, when I become president, we're gonna have to sit down with these bikers, and I mean cyclists. How dare you try to, you know, pull me on through when you are on a curve leading up to a blind hilltop? No, no, I will not be going into the other lane just because I don't like driving behind you. I mean, I don't like driving behind you, but you cannot see if it is not your job to tell me if a car is coming, and I think out of spite because of the fact that you picked the only sport that requires spandex and a seat to carve deeply into your, well, nether bits, you're a little bit pissy, but that's not my fault. I didn't pick the sport. You don't tell me how to drive. How about that? Even if you've got one of those little fancy side mirror things on there. Look, I may have a vendetta. I may, when I become president, send all cyclists to Arizona because if you live in a rural area that happens to have hills, they come out like of the woodwork. And for some reason, when you put that spandex on, you become a Karen of the road. I don't know how you do that. I don't know if it's because your testicles are so snug to your body as a man that you become Karen-like, and mass not very many seconds. The problem is again, we are in very hilly terrain where I live with a lot of blind curves and heavily wooded lanes. So, even if I were inclined to go around them, there's still too many variables that I don't trust another person who isn't me and, you know, to make driving choices for me. I stay away from them. I understand it's an uncomfortable situation for both of us. I have to look at you cycling fastly in spandex, and you have to worry about a 10-passenger Ford Transit behind you. But I would like to speed past you as soon as humanly possible. Please be assured that. And rant over. Sorry if anyone's a cyclist. In what the actual heck is going on with teenagers? And I mean, with this mugshot, are we shocked? A 15-year-old girl allegedly tried to stab her sleeping mother to death because she believes she was, quote, suppressing the black in her, end quote. Well, I hope she means that in the emo style because, ma'am, you are about as pale as me. But okay. Oh, yes. Cultural change? Yes. Spandex is known as Lycra across the world, but we still need to band together and stop the proliferation of this material being used by out of shape people. Look, as a fluffy myself, I would never be caught dead out in Lycra with all of my flaps just, my jiggly bits just bouncing in the wind, barely contained like a sausage, but that's a me thing. If you really like it, then God bless you, go to Arizona. A teenage Mississippi girl is being held in an adult lockup facility for allegedly attempting the murder of her own mother, a violent attack that appeared to be somewhat influenced by a collection of occult beliefs. Lexi Jade Brown, 15, stands accused of one count each of attempted murder and arson in the first degree. Wow, we didn't even start out with training crimes. We just went straight to my soul as black and dark as Edward Allan Poe. And holy Fasoli. Uh, According to a press release issued Monday by the Gulfport Police Department, the incident occurred near or during the early morning hours on June 14th, according to the police department. That's when officers said they received a call about a cutting incident at the house on D Avenue in a heavily rural part of Gulfport adjacent to a large wooded area. At the house on the final block of D Avenues, officer arrived at 2:33 a.m. and found the alleged victim suffering from multiple stab wounds. Investigators say the girl's mother told them she was asleep when the violence began, that she woke up to find her daughter allegedly attacking her with a knife. After fending the young girl off, the mother allegedly said her daughter then tried to start a fire inside the residence. The girl's mother was transported to a nearby hospital to recuperate. The extent of her injuries is not currently public knowledge. Police say the defendant was forthcoming about the brutal crime. When questioned by detectives, Brown did not say, "I would like a lawyer." Oh no, she's going to talk about the darkness in her soul as in the insufferable and inability to see anything beyond, my personal perspective that only a 15-year-old could have. She freely admitted she'd been planning to unalive her mother for quite some time. Premeditated? You have a call. You have a call on line 1. That's attempted murder 1, you dingus, but look, this young lady obviously needs a lot of help, but and maybe a little bit refresher from the, STFU legal services. Additionally, the 15-year-old allegedly said that her mother had been, quote, suppressing the black in her, according to law enforcement. The investigation is ongoing. Brown was arrested and booked at the Harris County Adult Detention Center, according to police. Her bond was then set at $1.25 million by District 5 Justice Court Judge Nick Patano. As of this writing, however, there are no public records of an inmate using any iteration of Brown's name in the county jail. Law and Crime reached out to the Gulfport Police Department and Harris County court system for any additional details on this story, but no response was immediately forthcoming at the time of publication. My guess, and I could be wrong, is that they probably have her in with all the other juveniles. She's going to be charged as an adult, and she's going to have to face adult consequences, but maybe, um, they're doing a hybrid program when until she ages up into that program, she's, uh, kind of, for lack of a better word, in training jail, but that's my guess. My guesstimation is that at best, who knows? But yeah, hopefully this young lady gets the help for whatever is causing her to have all of these issues and wanna stabulate people, because generally those people aren't allowed out in society. In Olympic trials news, apparently there's a scandal brewing, and no, Leah Thomas is not part of it, shockingly. At the US Olympic swim trials, Chinese doping and Australian stars loom over American speed. What in the Tommy Hilfiger early aughts is this uniform? Y'all, I didn't understand it when my mom would always tell me when I was wearing flare leg jeans that it felt like she was back in high school, but any, genlennial, if you maybe graduated high school around, oh, I don't know, 2002, this could be the Dawson's Creek, starter pack of Felicity and Ally McBeal sort of freaking outfits right here. I mean, what in the absolute train wreck? This looks like someone got I don't know, but it's just not my favorite look. There you go, you feel my pain. At least we're not bringing back the foundation that stops right nya and is at least and it must be at least 4 shades too dark for your skin tone. Now, I don't look like I have eyebrows this morning, but I usually fill them in because 'cause they're blonde, but as long as we don't come back with those really skinny like, pencil eyebrows, because I'm gonna have to put my foot down if we come back with pencil eyebrows. Anywho, rant over. Let's see. Nick Fink spent the final hours of a perfect soon to be Father's Day qualifying for the Olympics, celebrating and reflecting. Seconds after touching first in the 100-meter breaststroke here at U.S. swimming trials, he found his family and mimicked a rocking baby and broke out into a proud grin. Hours later, he spoke about his pregnant wife and their incoming baby boy, life as a utilities engineer and Olympian. He was asked about balance and resiliency, straight race strategy, and marriage. And then, with the final question of the night about Chinese doping scandal. I almost got out of here, huh? Before someone asked me, Fink said Sunday with a cautious smile. Then, however, he spoke thoughtfully for more than 2 minutes about a story that will loom over his race and others next month in Paris. In April, the New York Times and ARD, German's public broadcaster, revealed that 23 Chinese swimmers had tested positive for a banned substance in 2021 and escaped punishment. The revelations rocked the sports, fueled suspicions, and sparked international outcry, which led to a new dubious investigation into the case, which is still ongoing. Oh my gosh, it does kind of look like Fall Out Boy pretending to be, and it is yeah, they are using it for irony. Like, we're buttoned up, but we're a punk band. It JW, you hit the nail on the head. Of the 23 swimmers, or one of the 23 swimmers was Quinn Hae-young, who beat Fink in the gold in both of his events at last summer's World Championships. But this, Fink said, echoing US teammates, is not about any particular swimmer, it's more about the system. Confidence in the World Anti-Doping Agency, WDA, WADA, which oversees clean sport globally, is not very high right now, Fink said. Katie Ledecky recently told CBS that faith in some of the systems is in an all-time low. WADA has responded to scrutiny of its handling of the case with threats and diversions, which have deflated confidence even further, threatening to distract both swimmers and fans from competition in the pool. It's extremely frustrating, U.S. Olympic swimmer Lily King said, for athletes who always have in the back of their mind that this might not be a fair sport. It's especially frustrating as they prepare for the biggest meets of their lives. Fink is an athlete representative, a number of a member of committees that have been navigating the U.S. response to the Chinese case, but maybe I'm not on top of everything, he admitted, because I'm trying to balance all of that and other responsibilities, like being in the pool. As trials approached, in fact, many coaches urged their swimmers to force the scandal out of their minds. Many obsess over controlling what we can control. In that sense, China and the WADA are uncontrollables, not unlike the Australian rivals throwing down freakishly fast times halfway around the world. They're thinking about today, tomorrow, this meet, this competition, what's happening here. Todd DeSorbo, the University of Virginia coach who will lead the U.S. women's team in Paris, said last week. His swimmers, he said, were focusing on themselves and swimming fast this week. But for others, especially veterans who have felt compelled to speak, though sometimes carefully, it's just really disappointing, Olympian Cody Miller said on the eve of trials. US athletes, he added, go through a process of dealing with the US ADA, the US Anti Doping Agency, on a regular basis. Like, I mean, they show up at my house when I'm trying to put my kids to bed, trying to feed them dinner. I have to go stand in the restroom with a stranger and pee in a cup. This happens. Like, this is commonplace in the United States that has a USADA, which is an actual anti doping agency. It's also disappointing in a more accurate or acute and damaging sense for the US swimmers who were beaten in the 2021 Olympics by a Chinese relay that featured Zhang Yufei, another one of the 23 who had tested positive just 8 months earlier. I'm confident that myself and my teammates were all clean athletes. Paige Madden, a member of that U.S. 4 by 200-meter relay in 2021, said Monday after she qualified for it again in 2024. I think Allison Schmidt, another of the 2021 relay members, said it perfectly. We wanted to get tested after our performance in Tokyo. Getting drug tested is a privilege. Madden, though, didn't want to comment much further on the case. There's not much we can do about the situation, she said. I'll let everyone else handle the situation. We kind of want to focus on ourselves. Another topic looming in Indianapolis since last week is the U.S. team's only real rival for swimming supremacy. Several Americans have been faster than ever before here at U.S. trials, but not quite as fast as their Australian counterparts. Regan Smith, for example, set an American record in her 100-meter backstroke semifinal Monday night, finishing in 57.47 seconds. But she was still 0.14 seconds off Australian Kaylee McCowan's world record and zero point zero 0.06 seconds slower than McCohen's winning time last week at the Aussie trials. Smith on Monday was asked about chasing McCohen's record. It's all just about detail, she said, and Kaylee's wonderful at just executing everything perfectly. McCohen, though, said last week after her 57.41, I was a little disappointed with that. There are some improvements that can be made. Also at the Aussie trials, Ariane Timis was fully 3 seconds faster than Ledecky was a few days later in the 400 meter freestyle and in the 200-meter freestyle. Timis and 20-year-old Molly O'Callaghan both smashed O'Callaghan's world record. And I kind of geek into this a little bit because my middle and athletic daughter, who got skills not from me, does swimming and diving. And let me tell you, there should be an Olympic sport for getting those swimming suits on because if you get to the real expensive professional suits, you need like 8 people, baby powder, Wesson cooking oil. I mean, spray cans of Pam. Those suits are a pain in the, well, the boob to get on and off. So there you go. Sounds like the Olympics are going to be fun, or at least highly contested, which, I mean, and I don't know how I feel about this story. I think that this guy is a little bit more shady. I only vaguely know about this case of the father, who allegedly forgot that his daughter or his child was in the hot car, left him in the hot or left the child in the car all day at work, completely forgetting that he didn't take the child to daycare. Uh, I don't know how you do that. I get how it happens. I really get how I just it doesn't seem like something that I would be too busy to forget, but I also don't have the stresses of other parents. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so, I don't have that. I have to go to work. I'm trying not to be super judgmental, but I'm kinda being a little judgy here. Um, a 43-year-old father in Georgia convicted of murder in the hot car death of his 22-month-old son was released from prison 10 years after the boy died, only to end up right back in a different jail. Justice Ross Harris, whose murder or sorry, not Justin Ross Harris, whose murder conviction was overturned by the Georgia Supreme Court 2 years ago, left Macon State Prison on Sunday, Father's Day, and was subsequently booked into the Cobb County Jail. Prison records show uh, Law and Crime. Harris was in prison serving a 12-year prison sentence on other charges, 10 years for one count of criminal attempt to commit gross exploitation of children, and 1 year each on 2 counts of dissemination of harmful material to minors. So apparently, while his child was losing his life, he was trying to download disgusting, gross Josh Duggar crap on his phone and then trying to give it to other people whom he didn't know the age of. I mean, that haircut certainly says I shouldn't be around school children, but sir, do you really have to be so typecasty? Harrison's son, Cooper, passed away on June 18th, 2014, after his father left him in an SUV during work, according to the High Court's ruling. Harris was supposed to drop Cooper off at daycare, but went straight to work, leaving his son strapped into a rear facing car seat in the back of he basically left him in there for 7 hours. Cooper died of hyperthermia on that day, where temperatures got to the 800s. So, hyperthermia, high temperatures, hypothermia, low temperatures. I knew that I had done what every parent in their life fears they've done, that they just leave their son in a car on a hot day. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I am so paranoid that I have to remind the boys, like, every summer, and especially when they're outside playing, "Hey, we don't play in the van. We don't play, in cars out in the summer because you could get stuck there and you could be very seriously hurt." I am just so paranoid about that kinda stuff that I make sure my car doors are locked so the boys aren't tempted to go in there and play because, I mean, honest goodness, what little kid wouldn't wanna go into a big Ford Transit, van and wanna play steering wheel when, it's just in the driveway? And it's so easy for all those doors to get shut or for them to get so overheated they're disoriented. I mean, it is easy to get sidetracked, and that's why maybe it's just a weird quirk of mine, but that's why I try to eliminate that even being a factor because I could imagine myself as a little kid if I was able to get into my mom's car and pretend to be NASCAR driving it, you know, I I can see the allure, so I at least try to take that temptation, that dangerous situation out of the way. Now, if my sons happen to, come across an abandoned spray paint can, I can't protect them from the fact that every little boy wants to throw rocks at spray paint cans. It's a whole new level of learning curve when you have little boys, and I'm not trying to gender stereotype, but, I will just say that my girls like, the biggest fights we would have is, "You have to share your Barbies." No, I don't care if you don't want her to have, summertime Barbie. You all need to play together. But and or, mixing every single one of my beauty products together to make a potion. My boys, it's like, "Well, something exploded around us." Old Line Red, I think I'm so paranoid about the car thing because it seemed like for a while there, every other week was some parent just leaving their child in a car, and maybe that's a big fear of mine is getting caught up. I know I can easily be sidetracked, so I try to prevent ways that I can think of my children not being very safe. However, during the murder trial, prosecutors argued that Harris purposely left Cooper in the car, intending for the boy to pass away because it would free him up for more extramarital relationships. This dude was getting a lot of play. He was on Tinder, and everyone was like, swipe right or left. Whichever one says, I like you, circle yes or no. And they're like, yes. Sure. What a gross piece of human. Prosecutors offered evidence of Harris repeatedly complaining about being married and having children and showed that he sent explicit messages to an underage high school girl. Yeah, ew. Evidence that at the murder trial included enlarged photographs of his jungular region. And I'm sure it had to be enlarged for, viewing purposes. He was convicted of the murder in 2016, sentenced to life in Georgia State Prison with the opportunity of parole, plus an additional 32 years. Harris appealed his conviction all the way up to the Georgia Supreme Court, where a majority of the justices agreed that the trial court erred by refusing to sever the murder charge from the charges involving Harris's explicit communications with a juvenile, reasoning that child exploitation charges were prejudicial when combined with the murder charge. In a 6-3 decision, the state's highest court upheld Harris's conviction for sexting a juvenile high school girl, but determined the state went overboard by submitting evidence of Harris's extramarital pursuits in the homicide case. That erroneously submitted evidence included pictures of his ween, which he sent to the juvenile victim. Notably, at oral argument in this court, the state's counsel acknowledged that she did not know of the proper purpose for which the prosecutor introduced these 9 enlarged copies of photos of the appellant's, well, happy ween. I mean, you gotta love current timeline where we're talking about, did did the court display dick pics? And they're like, "Yes." And he was fully amassed. And they're like, "But why?" And he's like, "Well, to be fair, he's kind of a gross trash bag human being, and look, we wanted to make fun of him. Look, I would have gone in there, look, your honors, he was doing gross stuff with kids and left his baby in a van. We wanted to name and shame him, but and we found, look, Proctor, we found your nudes." Let's see here. Because of the properly admitted evidence that the appellant maliciously and intentionally left Cooper to die was far from overwhelming, we cannot say that it is highly probable that the erroneously admitted sexual evidence did not contribute to the jury's guilty verdict. Yeah, I mean, I would be prejudiced against him. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm a juror and I find out you're doing this instead of, I don't know, paying attention to your baby, yeah, I'm gonna consider it malicious and intentional, and goodbye Snake Island. Following the High Court's ruling, the Cobb County District Attorney's Office decided not to try Harris for the murder the second time. For the last 11 months, the Cobb County District Attorney's Office has conducted a thorough review of the entire case file, Cobb County prosecutors said last year. Crucial motive evidence that was admitted in the first trial in 2016 is no longer available to the state due to the majority decision of the Supreme Court. They're like, without the peen photos, we cannot convict. Without dick pic, we cannot convict pic. I mean, it's a compelling argument I'd be willing to listen to. Therefore, after much thought and deliberation, we have come to a difficult decision to not retry Justin Ross Harris on the revised counts of the indictment. Lena Taylor, Cooper's mother and Harris's ex-wife, had previously said that Harris destroyed her life and left her in a position where she may never trust anyone again. However, she also testified in his defense, telling jurors, "It never crossed my mind that Harris had done it on purpose." Fox affiliate WAGA reported, "Never, it was an accident." So, I mean, I feel terrible for this mother and this little boy. I really don't care what happens to the dad, if I'm going to be very honest with you. But for this mom to know that now any sort of justice, any sort of accountability has been taken off the table, I don't know how I would feel about that. And maybe remember we are being filmed everywhere. Apparently, this knowledge that cameras and Big Brother exist, well, it shocked a Vermont lawmaker, you know, because as it happened, oh, what in the Hillary Clinton, Sybil Shepherd's moonlighting is that haircut? Anywho, let's get on with it. A Republican state legislator in Vermont awkwardly apologized on the House floor on Monday after she was caught on hidden camera repeatedly pouring water into a Democrat colleague's tote bag. Ma'am, if you're gonna do something so mean girls, teenage, middle school girl, at least make a burn book for the love of all that is holy. Uh, State Rep Mary Morrissey said she was truly ashamed of the childish targeting of State Rep Jim Carroll, who dealt with the soaking bag on numerous occasions over the last several months in what he called torment. Okay, simmer down, both of you. Torment. I have given my sincere apology to Jim directly and publicly, and will be working towards resolution and restoration through our legislative process, Morrissey said in front of fellow lawmakers. And these are also the eyebrows I'm talking about. I don't want to come back. Now, I am currently sporting somewhat a similar look because I have very blonde eyebrows, but ma'am, you're supposed to have two full ones, too. They're not supposed to end right here. Okay, I should stop dogging on her appearance because that's mean. Oh, and she has the freaking country club scarf. Never mind, I withdraw any sort of grace. She must be stopped. She's a crime against fashion and humanity. It is conduct most unbecoming of my position as a representative and as a human being, and is not reflective of my 28 years of service and civility that I do value towards my colleagues. Ma'am, I don't think you first of all, you're probably one of the chicks that stops the meeting because you have exactly one person less than quorum and wants to filibuster. I'm gonna have to put a X to doubt that, you have been the most civil and humane person because, again, your hairstylist, I'm guessing, has actively tried to stop this mess right here. This mess right here, she's like, do you wanna maybe try lowlights, highlights, something with dimension that isn't football helmet?" And you probably refuse. She's just hydrating the tote bag. I mean, you're right, Siri. Who knew? Uh, the Republican begged her colleagues, legislative staff, and Vermont citizens to forgive her for poor judgment. Yeah, poor judgment is once you doing this. But the fact that you continue to do it multiple times means you're a B word. The meek mea culpa came only after Carroll hid a $23 spy camera which captured Morrissey, 67, pouring water in his bag as it hung on a hook outside the committee room, according to local outlet 7 Days reported. He caught the on-tape antics, which were recorded in March with House Speaker Jill or uh, Krowinski, who reportedly confronted Morrissey. The video of the strange conduct obtained by 7 Days shows Morrissey quickly dumping a full cup of water into the bag as she briskly walked away. Carol, 62, also addressed the issue on the House floor and said that he heard the sincerity in Morrissey's voice. Y'all are both politicians. You guys don't know what sinceriosity is. Let's be honest. You guys don't even, I mean, you have seen postcards from the town of sincerity, but you've never actually lived in or paid taxes in that town. Uh, and each day I went through this, Representative Morrissey had a choice to make each time, and she didn't choose to either drop it or come to me and say, "Look, I'm sorry." It was torment, he said, of the relentless pranking. No, there is no doubt. So this is the unfortunate victim. Uh, about it. The bag wedding began a couple times a week in January and February, and then was nearly daily after he went back to work following a stint in rehab stemming from driving under the influence. Okay, Vermont, I don't live here, you guys. Look, I don't live in Vermont. I would love to live in Vermont because New England, a cabin, my own fireplace. It is a dream, but holy fazoli's, y'all's legislative branch is just about crazy, not to mention the taxes. I have looked, and y'all need to not become Taxachusetts, okay? Because I'm trying to get Mr. Mo to move to, Vermont in a cabin one day, but y'all are gonna make it Mo's gonna have to build a cabin in Wyoming. So, Vermont, stop it. So you've got guy coming back from a DWI and lady watering his bag. Vermont, uh, not sending their best apparently to the House of Representatives. Interesting. Gotta in more fathers behaving awesomely, or vigilantly, depending on how you look at it, but I find it difficult to, condemn this father. Father takes matters into his own hands after catching a rideshare driver assaulting his daughter, police say. I mean, again, finding it hard to be upset about this story. Dad takes care of daughter. They're re-edit it for you. It's good. Authorities in Washington state are investigating excuse me, uh, a shooting Saturday night after they said a father caught a rideshare driver allegedly SAing his daughter while she was highly intoxicated. Um, we have we have a plan for this. It's either you let dad take him or Lord Chippy awaits its next contestant. Early Saturday morning, Thurston County Sheriff's deputies responded to a report of a weapons violation in Nisqually Valley. The deputy stopped a vehicle that was attempting to flee the scene and noticed that the driver was injured. During their investigation, deputies also located two shell casings in the vicinity of the scene. Detectives determined the driver who was trying to leave the scene was a rideshare driver that had provided transportation to a highly intoxicated female. According to officials, the father of the woman discovered his daughter allegedly being SA'd by the rideshare driver at a well known fishing spot. Police said at some point during the altercation, shots were fired. Well, I mean, FAFO. Test a Papa Bear. I mean, I don't recommend it. I'd say it would probably be harmful to your health. But, go ahead and test a Papa Bear and a Mama Honey Badger. It seems like a dangerous game, but this is what happens when you try to test that. The rideshare driver was transported to a local hospital and treated for injuries sustained during the incident. Police said that the rideshare driver was arrested on charges of SA in the second degree and kidnapping. Now, it looks like the father is just doing his job and they're like, tip their little cowboy hats to him. They're like, thanks. Thank you kindly, sir. And I mean, look, it is Texas. I'm not going to, or Washington State. I mean, I'd have just sent him off with like, here's a beer, here's a punch on your man card, and we're done. But this is why I am not allowed to be in charge of stuff because I'd be okay with that sort of thing. In our final story today, because I love moose. Now, I know that they are dangerous and even bigger mutant attack deer, but I still have a deep affinity for, well, mooses, if you will. A baby moose trapped in a lake is saved by an Alaska man and police as its worried mom watches on. An Alaska man and two police officers rescued a baby moose from what police described as sure demise after it fell into a lake and got stuck in a narrow space between a float plane and a dock. Spencer Warren, who works for the outdoor tourism company Destination Alaska Adventure Co., had arrived to work at around 6:30 a.m. Friday to prepare a float plane for the day's trip when he heard what he thought was an odd-sounding bird. He quickly spotted the moose calf stuck between the floats of the plane and dock in the Beluga Lake in Homer, a Kenai Peninsula community about 220 miles or 350 kilometers south of Anchorage. Floats replace wheels on planes, allowing it to take off or land in water. On a side note, y'all, I have always wanted to live in Alaska. Um, it's just, moving, I have an issue with. Look, I have way too much stuff. I don't wanna pack anything, and but I would love to live in Alaska. It's that perfect, very nice summer, long days, and then in the winter, well, it's snowing, I can't go out anywhere. I mean, it feeds my introvert soul, like, "I'm sorry, it's snowing today." And, the people in Alaska are like, "Yeah, it's a Tuesday, are we gonna go out?" And I'm like, it's snowing." I'm like the people of Canton. I'm not gonna snow. Good morning, Audio Coffee, Nanny Goat, Welsh Lady Reads, Conversation with with Living Room with RJ, Publicly Buzzed, That Sock Snatcher. I mean, to be very fair, that's how Mama Mo rolls. Like, I'm like, "Well, outside is peoply. Do we really have to go out there?" And any state that supports weather where I am, maybe not encouraged to go outside during the winter. He immediately thought, "Oh man, where's mama? I know she's nearby," before spotting the worried mother about 4 feet or 1.2 meters away with another calf. Mother moose can be dangerously protective of their calves. A photographer was killed by a mama moose protecting her young last month in Homer. The baby moose tried to get out of the lake but couldn't get its footing on top of the metal float with its hooves. Its mother was wary, keeping Warren, the would be rescuer, from getting too close as it struggled. Uh, it's like an ice rink for moose and its hoofs, Warren said of the Friday rescue, so he just kept slipping and could not get up. Warren checked in with his boss, who also called the Homer police. One officer eventually positioned his police cruiser between the Mama Moose and the float plane to allow another officer and Warren to rescue the calf. Homer Police Lieutenant Ryan Browning told the Associated Press the calf had one leg outstretched across the top of the plane float where it was stuck. You know, kind you're kind of thankfully he wasn't moving, so that made the rescue a bit easier. Warren said, "We just lifted him straight out and put him on the dock there." The exhausted calf splayed out on the boardwalk until the officer helped it stand. The calf was reunited with its mother and she licked the water off its body, all of it caught on camera by Warren. Anytime you can rescue a little critter, it always makes you feel good. So there you go, guys. Those are the stories this morning. Thanks for joining me. I will be working on a Delphi video. Judge Gull has possibly stepped in it big time, and there is a very interesting filing that went up yesterday. And no, I have been kind of out of the loop on Delphi. Summers with 6 children at home and trying to keep everyone alive, fed, laundry going means that I am not as quick on the pickup, but this is definitely something that I wanna take time and do a video on, so that will be coming out this morning, and then don't forget at noon, I will be doing another, uh reading of the state's response to Scott Peterson, so wanting more DNA. So I believe we had just finished up Lacey's last day. Uh, Dang it, publicly buzzed. Real life taking away our internet times. So be on that starts at noon, and then I am going to be working diligently these next 2 weeks to, create a Sunday shenanigans kind of weekly roundup of crazy news panel. and my Discord. So I'm going to try to get that all work together. But Baker has kind of that thing where if you want to be an angel on Stabby Day, you can join. So I'm hoping to work on my Discord, get that set up so you guys have a Discord home that you can, have a Mo-centric area, which is weird, but it is what it is. So those are the things that I am working on, but definitely looking at starting a Sunday Shenanigans panel show, probably early afternoon. All the strange news, other people, panelists, fine, and just kind of looking at it, having a fun time. So I will be working on those things, but did kind of want to give you guys an update on what I was going to be focusing on. And remember, tonight is the one night a week where my husband is contractually obligated to spend time with me. Or maybe it's the other way around. Anywho, it is date night, Wednesday night, so I will not be seeing you guys tonight. But do remember that Baker, or any of the mods, if you can put a link to Baker's channel, that would be super awesome. He has got a live panel discussion show with, I believe, the Young Jerks, Valhalla, Melanie Little, and Ian Runkle, all about the Karen Reed case. And that is starting at 8 p.m. and it is just going to be awesome. So if you have been following that, definitely go support him. I mean, if we all support each other, a rising tide raises all boats. And I can't wait to hear all of the people he has on the panel show just kind of give their own thoughts. I'm not sure if I will be able to convince Mr. Mo that this is definitely date night watching material, but I can always be part of the replay crew. So have a lovely day, you guys. I will get started on that Delphi video and then I get to work on laundry. I know, please hold your envy. Don't become jealous. Don't become peanut butter and jealous. But I will be working on laundry most of the day because we are demolitioning my laundry area because of course we are. Anywho, have a great day, guys. I will see you in a little bit. Have a fun and wonderful day and a happy holiday. It's Juneteenth, right? Have a happy Juneteenth. I can never remember what the rando holidays are. No offense to anyone. Bye, guys.